So the first thing that I'd like you to do, and this is one of the many self-assessments in the books, is to just sort of take a little inventory. Just read through these things. How do you know when you're stressed? Well, some of us, our heart beats faster, or your muscles feel tight. I tend to lose my keys. Sometimes you find that your stomach is churning, your head aching. You may eat more or less. You may have problems falling asleep or staying asleep. But it's important to sort of become aware of what your stress targets are. And so if you read through this checklist, you'll see it's like physical symptoms, sleep problems, worrying about getting sick, self-medicating, including taking alcohol or drugs, problems concentrating, feeling irritable, working or studying longer and harder than usual, and yet in these circumstances not really getting the results you want, exaggerating the importance of what's happening to you. You might become accident prone or just feel clumsy, and you may find that you're kind of not yourself. You're pushing yourself. You're going to extremes. So when you have the time, even once a day, it's a good idea to just monitor yourself and see what's going on. Now, the basics of stress apply to everyone, and it's, as I said, you have to recognize the signs and symptoms, but I also want to give you a sense that, that stress is a head-to-toe, inside and out phenomenon. Now, you see this girl slumped over in the library, and you probably have felt that way once or twice at least. I certainly have, and I just want to run through the targets in your body that stress affects. First of all, your brain. When you're under stress, particularly when you're under an immediate stress, the moment the professor calls on you, you may feel that your heart is racing, but you're also, what you may not be aware of is that your mental and brainwave activity increase. Your heart does indeed increase, your blood pressure increases, your breathing rate increases, the air passageways in your lungs actually widen so you can get more air. Your metabolism speeds up. Your muscles contract. Your muscles actually become stronger. There's more blood flow to them. And then at the same time, there are all sorts of physiological differences that you would never notice. Your liver is producing more glucose, which is fuel for your body. You may perspire more. And at the same time, your body is turning down the non-essential functions. Your digestive system, your reproductive system. Your body is being poised for action. Now, it's also interesting, though, that all stresses are not the same. There are, even though our body reacts to them in similar ways. Now, scientists have identified something they call new stress. Now, new stress is a sort of, you read the news these days, and it's stressful. You may have every reason to worry, whether your town is in the path of a hurricane, you may be worried about terror attacks, you may worry about the election, and yet these are stressful, but they don't affect you personally. And so this is what's sort of new stress. It's something that's in the background, always there, something to worry about, but it doesn't affect you or your loved ones personally. Now, there's also a very good type of stress. This is, you get engaged. You're so excited. There's the prospects of so many good things happening, and at the same time, it's incredibly stressful. There's also just sort of whenever anything terrific happens, you're so excited by it, and yet there's usually some reason to feel you've been chosen, for instance, to compete, and so this is your shot. You've been chosen to star in a play, to sing in a video, and as excited as you are, you're also anxious about it. So this is eustress, and then there's distress. This is the harmful form of stress, and this is when you realize that you've lost your phone. There's a pop quiz. You realize that your loan, for whatever reason, there seems to be some problem with your loan, and so you have to deal with this. And this is the potentially harmful form of stress. Now, your body reacts to stress, to all of these different types of stresses, in the same way. It mobilizes. As I said, you feel all of this more energy, your brain, your heart, your lungs, everything is poised. And the reason has to do with evolution. Way back when, in a time before time, our ancestors were living in a world where there were constant threats. And so they basically, if they saw some woolly mammoth charging at them, they had a choice. They could fight, they could stand their ground and fight for their life, they could turn around or flee. And so fight and flight are programmed into our DNA. Now, of course, we're hardly ever confronted with woolly mammoths these days, but so there's this moment where you realize that your wallet is missing, and you feel this, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you're poised. Should you take action? Should you run back to the last place? Or even if you're in a confrontation, this happens where if you're just sort of the topic turns to something controversial and the discussion heats up, and you really don't know. Do you want to stay and debate and feel yourself getting more and more charged up, or you just want to walk away or keep quiet or withdraw? So fight or flight are the basic stress responses, but there's also something else. It's called freezing, and this is the deer in the headlights phenomenon. And what we've seen, if you've been driving or you're out in the road and you see an animal and it suddenly sees the headlights and it just stops because it's basically calculating, what should I do? Should I run forward? Should I run away? And so this is almost a normal response where you get to just, it may be just a millisecond where you think, what am I going to do? This car is headed straight at me. What do I do? And so you're just immobilized for a minute. But it can prolong, and sometimes some situations are so overwhelming that people just stay frozen. Now, the thing is that what matters is not just how your body reacts, but how your mind reacts. And so the other factor in dealing with stress and understanding stress is perception. How do you evaluate what's happening? How do you understand it? How do you interpret a situation? Now, this always influences how you are going to react. Now, if you feel that you just can't handle what's going on, if you feel that this, I don't know, it could be you go home for Thanksgiving and there's you can feel the tempers rising, you can feel tension in your family, and you just know that you just have that sinking feeling that you're just not going to be able to cope, that it's all going to not end well. Well, this sets you up. The stress is going to just seethe inside you. On the other hand, if you feel confident, if you think, oh gosh, I know how to head this off. I think I'm going to make a joke, or I think this is the time to go into the other room. Whatever it is, whatever your strategy, if you think, oh my God, I see what's coming, I can handle it. The same thing happens in sports. If you're playing on a team and you see that you're up against your toughest opponent, and if you think, oh my God, I'm toast, well, you're going to feel a lot more stressed, and you think, hey, I think I got him. I think I can handle this. Now, this gets into a new way of looking at stress, and this is called the challenge response. Athletes I think we saw so many examples of this in the Olympics, so that you saw all of those moments when athletes were there poised at the edge of the pool or at the beginning of the track, and their bodies were responding to stress to the nth degree. Their brains, their lungs, their muscles, they were poised. And rather than seeing it as this looming disaster, this, oh my God, my whole career is at stake, oh my God, I could fall, oh my God, I can see that guy is going to, it looks so strong, how can I compete? Rather than that, there's this sense of, I'm going to give it my max, I'm going to give it all. Now, this again gets back to perception. It has to do with whether you feel prepared, whether you feel confident, and just that sense of, do I have the skills and the resources to handle it? So when you confront a crisis, when you're thinking about a challenge, it's best to sort of, for one thing, you can take a quick inventory of your strengths. You can remember previous situations, and if you handled them well, you can say, okay, I know I've got this, I know what I'm going to do. You can also just interpret your stress signals differently. If you have to get up and speak in front of the room, and you can feel your throat get dry, and you can feel your palms sweat, rather than thinking, oh my God, I'm just a wreck, I'm going to fall apart, you can say, okay, I'm being primed. This is my moment. My body is ready for this. And the other thing that you can do is that you can breathe, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, because breathing is actually one of your secret weapons, as it were. It's one of the ways that you can take control of stress at any time.